Welcome back to the R-Rated Podcast. The R-Rated Podcast. This week's guest is...
Welcome back to the R-Rated Podcast. Today's new guest is Andrea Bautista.
Hello.
And we're going to have a giant smoke sesh. I really think we should tap into the whole cannabis world because, you know, it's legal in California and it's going to be legalized in other states. And there's this like stereotype of like if you smoke, maybe like you don't have the best intentions, it's bad, or like it has this like old like stereotype to it. I want to like break those boundaries and open people's minds. So I have Andrea here.
Hello.
Hello. We actually met at a rehab center that lets you smoke cannabis. She can actually tell you a little bit more about that. When I say smoke cannabis, it's more like regulated, right? Like it's not like you would just get high all the time. Like how would that work at a rehab center?
Absolutely. The focus was more education.
Mm-hmm.
So educating, the guests that came in,
Right.
not necessarily how to smoke. Obviously,
Right.
that is part of it,
Right.
but more the medical benefits of it and
Mm-hmm.
how you can go ahead and live a beautiful life and be part of society.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you take a toke or two,
Yeah.
as long as you understand what it's doing to your system and also what your intentions are. I feel like that's very important when it comes to smoking.
Wow, I've never thought about it. Yeah, like what are your intentions behind like smoking? Because like what's going on in your brain? Like, why are you in a happy mindset? Are you trying to like suppress something? Like, where are you at?
Right, being
Yeah.
able to go ahead and not really look at cannabis as another crutch, right? Because if
Mhm.
you're leaving a hardcore drug,
Right.
then it wouldn't be really something that you want to lean on. It's more of how can this herb and magical plant go ahead and add positivity and amplify your life as
Right.
opposed to it just becoming something else that's replacing
Yeah.
another drug.
How many years have you smoked cannabis? Like, has this been in your life for a long time, or is this a more recent thing?
No, I started smoking cannabis in college. I met a friend and we kind of just meshed together
Yeah.
and she was a heavy smoker.
Okay.
And it became something that I didn't really know much about.
Right.
And I had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But we would, I went to school for interior design.
No way.
So,
I love it.
So we would have to stay up and do these crazy like 3D models and
Yeah.
floor plans.
Yeah.
And I just remember that we worked on a group project and she's like, hey, do you mind if I smoke? And I was like, do your thing.
Yeah.
But I thought she was talking about like a cigarette. So I didn't really
Right.
care, right? But then I see her like
Was it
packing a
frowned
bowl.
upon?
Hush, hush.
Okay.
Definitely
Okay.
like not everybody can just go into a store or dispensary and
Right.
pick up some weed.
Right.
You have to get a rec. And if you didn't have a rec, you got to go see Jose down the road, you
Yeah,
know, like, or
classic.
have
Yeah.
a connect that you might
Right.
know.
Mhm.
But it definitely is something that the industry has changed significantly. So it's very interesting to see all of that, and being able to understand people on a personal level is very
Right.
important. And that really helped me out working in a dispensary because I was able to see all kinds of people coming in for this magical plant that
Right.
was frowned upon.
Yeah.
But everybody had a different reason. So
Wow.
it became something, of course, you know, you have people coming in, they want to get high.
Right.
And you get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was people coming in for reasons that they were utilizing it medically. So it's something where I've seen a big variation.
Can you
of-
explain like what type of stuff like maybe medically that they were coming in for? Because I know there's like so many different types of like forms.
I mean, it can be something as, like people relate to anxiety a lot. Anxiety, PMS,
Yeah.
multiple sclerosis,
Yeah.
cancer, if you're going through dialysis.
Yeah.
If maybe you just have migraines or
Yeah.
maybe you just need to switch up your mood a little bit and
Yeah.
you need a head change, you know, it becomes something that it can be something minimal, but also it can be something where you're helping out people that are really going through a lot of physical pain.
And okay, so some people say like, okay, weed is another drug, like you can get addicted to it. Like, do you feel like you can get addicted to smoking cannabis, or is there like should there just be a healthy balance to everything, like especially smoking? Like how does that work? Like how can you balance it?
I do feel like some people can get addicted to it. Now, when it comes to addictive, right, or an addict or an addictive personality, it really is how you handle it. So beginning from your intention, I really think that really sets the tone. Because if your intention is like, hey, I'm going to smoke and I'm going to go ahead and just like finish this paper or maybe continue to work on this project or go fix my car or clean the yard or whatever type of motivation you want to set, or even just like, hey, I'm going to smoke and have a good day sort of thing, and keep that positive mentality, I think that can really go far, because it's not necessarily you just getting high and just sitting and staring at the wall, or not getting anything done. Now, there are times when smokers do that, and that's okay to kind of just have a moment. But if you're doing that on a daily while smoking, then you're not really adding to your life or your lifestyle. So as long as you can balance it out, I feel like it could really be something different. And I also think that the different variety as far as like grades of cannabis and understanding what you're putting into your system matters, because if you're just smoking shitty weed, then I feel like the person doesn't really respond the same way. And we all have an endocannabinoid system, and the way that our body reacts to cannabis is very different from probably the next person. So yes, there are a lot of similarities when it comes to different people. So you mentioned earlier you like indica.
Yes.
I'm an indica gal myself.
Yes.
I love indica. I feel like from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I can function very well on indica. When it comes to sativas, I'm just too much in my head. So when you start to really understand what works for you as an individual, then it's really easy to go ahead and just say like, hey, I'm good to smoke here, I'm good to smoke now, or maybe not. So you're able to read yourself, because again, you're able to say no when you have things to do, or you're really not, you don't have the time for it.
Exactly. So after you started smoking for the first time, like back when you were, studying into college, did that continue on for the rest, like until now, or were you like, okay, I got to stop now, I'm like out of college now? Like, did you ever have a stage like that?
Only for a moment. Let me see. I went to a trade school. So right after high school, I was like 18. Yeah. And then the only time I stopped was when I was pregnant. Okay. Because,
that makes sense.
Laws, laws and everything that goes with it. Right. But it is something that I feel helped me out after. Okay. Because postpartum depression definitely is a thing. And I feel like instead of resorting to other unhealthy fashions, I think that it's easier to go ahead and just look at herb as, hey, how can this help me? And is it really helping me? Some people I know they get meds, but I personally, I didn't want to be on meds. Yeah. I feel like as far as I'll go with meds is possibly like Midol. But even that, like, I'd rather not,
Because there's the smoking out of a bong, there's the joint, there's edibles. For someone who's like maybe starting off, like what would be the appropriate way to start?
So it really matters what the individual needs it for. Right. So if a person is coming in and saying like, hey, I have a lot of pain, I don't like the smell of smoke, I don't like smoke, then there's options of topicals, right? And if you have some immediate pain, then you can go ahead and target that immediate pain. If you have cramps, there are transdermal patches.
Oh, wow, I didn't even know that.
That are like a slow release. You can go ahead and wear it for 12 hours. Even more sometimes, but it slowly releases cannabis, and it's not going to be anything that makes you feel high. It's more like hitting your CB2 receptors, so you're able to go ahead and really feel the effects, and the pain starts dissipating in a way where it's not going to be like, boom, it's gone, but slowly over time you start to feel it. So there's different ways of really looking at it. And then there's also ratios, right? Now we have breakdowns of ratios in edibles, and to better understand that, that's basically like the ingredients inside of cannabis are like THC, CBD, CBG, and there's so many other ones, right?
Those always honestly, whenever I take an edible, it's so unpredictable for me. And that's like something I wanted to ask you too, because like I smoke cannabis, so it's not like I don't have a tolerance, but for some reason when I take edibles, I'm like I feel like those are the times I'm stuck, where I'm like, I can't get creative. I'm not like, I'm just kind of like, I'm ready to like just chill on the couch and maybe sleep. Like,
and sometimes people need that, right? Sometimes they need that relaxation.
I was not ready for this. Like, this
so
is not
it's different because when we're smoking it, it's almost like a instantaneous thing. Right. Within like a minute or two, you're like, oh, I feel the effects. Right. When we're eating it, a lot of things come into play. So our digestive system for the individual, but also it no longer is just delta 9. 9, now it's converting into 11-hydroxy-THC in our system. So now our liver is really processing it. So it becomes something that you're able to have in your system for a longer period of time. So that is important for people who are suffering with pain. If you have pain, then you're not going to want to sit and smoke for like an hour and a half to make the pain go away. Right. You might as well eat either concentrated amount of a dab, right? Or you can eat something and then it's something that lasts in your system way longer and you don't have to, you know, kind of wait it out sort of thing.
Right. I think that's another thing, like waiting it out. You're like, how strong is this going to hit me? Like,
and then if you're hungry, you just keep eating more.
Exactly. That actually happened to me with my first time trying. I was like, I don't feel it. And I was like, I'll just have a little bit more. And then it just like smacked me. And I was like, why did I do this? And I just had to sleep like the whole day, basically. So I did waste a whole day. So I think that part kind of like scared me away from it initially. But now that I've, you know, smoked more cannabis, I'm like, I'm gonna try it again, but I'm like, what's the right amount? Like, and is it like all cookies are a heavy dose? Because for some reason the cookies get me. I'm like, I don't know.
Now they make you know, chocolates and cookies that are sativa, right? But honestly, any baked good or anything that is a chocolate usually hits your body like a heavy indica. So it's something where you have to kind of, I feel like everybody should go through that experience kind of, just because then you're able to kind of understand what works for you. Because again, every person varies, right? In the amount of THC levels. Yep. I feel like my tolerance level is fairly high when it comes to eating them, but also smoking. So it's something where I've gauged my amount of intake. I can start like with 50 milligrams, and that's a nice start. Right. Okay. But I can hit it into high gear and definitely like go in further. I don't really like that unless I have a day off the next day, because then I'll just kind of
feel a little groggy.
Take it slow.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So what's your go-to on a regular day now? Like, what's your bag?
My go-to is flour. Hands down, I love flour, but it has to be top shelf flour. I can't.
So like for people who maybe wouldn't know like what the difference between top shelf, like what top shelf weed is, what is considered top shelf?
So something that has the proper look. Yes, it's important, but looks can be deceiving. So
and what are we looking for?
We're looking for we're looking for all those shiny things on the bud. They're called trichomes, and that basically is what allows for us to feel the magic of being high. So
do you have a nug that we can maybe see as an example?
So
because I know I'm like, she did not bring top shelf weed, so I'm like, I need to see this. Yeah. Okay.
So this is
I'm gonna take a nug out so we can.
Yes. So this is a indica. It's in-house private reserve, hands down my favorite. I want to say I've been smoking this for over 8 years now. So it's something that I feel like the strain just works really well. And the best way that I can describe it is I feel like when I smoke this, my brain is just organized in a better way. I feel like I can go ahead and my thoughts, you know, like I can go ahead and just like target each thing, right? And it's like getting done. You know what I mean? It's not something that I'm just like letting float.
Exactly what you mean.
And it's good as a almost like a reward process.
Yes,
right?
yes. Oh my God, we think alike. Yeah, I'm like, oh, if I like finish writing this like script, I'll be able to like go out and get myself a Starbucks, and it works. I'm like,
yeah. Because you got to think of like what's that end goal, right? And that's the same way. I mean, I don't go out and get a Starbucks, but I'll go and hit my bong. And to me, it's like, yes, you finished this task, and now let's keep it moving. Right. And not only that, like not getting stuck on smoking and then just sitting it out. Unless it's the end of the day, then I don't care. I'll just kind of zone out and watch a show.
Sleep, I'm like, let's do this.
That too. Then it's serving its purpose. And that's another thing. Some people get scared and they're like, oh, I ate this edible and I just went to sleep, and that's it doing its job. You know what I mean? Like, so don't be afraid if the edible's putting you to sleep. Like it's doing its job. Right. So, you know, with smoking, it could take a little bit longer depending on the individual. And also, I do have to throw out there that if you do have a low tolerance for cannabis, keep it that way. You don't have to really ruin it. You know, if a hit gets you to where you need to be, enjoy it, enjoy it, and try to go ahead and harness that. Just because then you don't have to really spend so much more on weed. And of course, once you're with people and it becomes a social thing, it becomes exciting. You know, so you can you know, smoke more than you planned to originally. But I feel like that is something that is also the spark of the magic in weed. You know, you connect so many different types of people through weed, and And I feel like being at the Heavenly Center, I learned a lot from the individuals that I was helping. They were also helping me.
Yeah.
So it became something where I was able to kind of give that dose of information in a way where it was very personal. I grew up in a household that was very AA. So when I started growing up and started to get curious, you know, you go through a lot of trial and error on things. So it's something where it made me a better, I guess, explainer of things that I came across and how to handle certain situations, because it can really matter in how you handle situations. And I feel like cannabis has added into my life in a way that I didn't think that I would love Mary Jane like this, but she became my first love.
I love it. So your family, like, they know that you smoke, and like, is it okay now, or maybe some family members like, oh, like, don't do that, or is it kind of cool now?
So I'm 39 years old, and I just told my dad.
Not.
Yeah, I am.
What? This keeps happening to me on the pod. Okay, so like I had someone on like a couple weeks ago, and he's like, I'm 40, and he looked like he was like,
I watched that.
I'm like, why does this keep happening to me? Okay, first of all, I love it. I need to know your beauty and skincare routine after this.
Weed, vegetables, and water.
And I love that she smokes weed, because I'm like, okay, like, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't dig cigarettes.
Yeah, that's fair.
There was a time where I thought I liked cigarettes.
Yeah.
But one day to the next, I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I found out what weed was. I found out how to smoke weed. And that's the thing that was really what caught my attention.
Right.
But also, I wanted to understand, was everybody feeling as good as I was feeling when they smoked, you know, because I was feeling good, and I was like, hey, does the next person feel
like,
this
do
great?
You feel the same way?
Yeah. So then, you know, I started to try to understand like more geeky facts, and I think that's what kept me in and the fact that it was something that could grow wildly in nature.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you understand like the government behind it, and then you understand like why there's such a big issue, you know?
Right.
So back to your question about like family.
Yeah.
Okay, so
so you're like, hold up.
So I'm 39 years old, and I just told my dad the industry that I'm in. Mind you, I've been in this industry for over a decade. But I just shared with him last week. We were in the car.
What made you feel like this was the moment? And why now? You know?
Because we were in the car, and he was talking about weed, but something that a friend told him.
Okay.
And it was a lot of misinformation. And I really feel like that's where a lot of the fuck up is.
Yes.
Is what kind of information are you getting? Right.
And where are you getting it?
Exactly. You know? And then how are you continuing to share that misinformation? You know, so the fact that he was saying some things that were not correct, I had to kind of just pump the brakes. And I feel like I'm
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Yeah, in a stage of my life where I feel comfortable enough to say like, hey, I'm an adult, and this is what I'm in, you know? So I kept it a lot of the time just hush hush. I don't know, I guess protection.
Yeah, I get that. No,
I feel like I was trying to do my own thing.
I get it.
Yeah. Latin background, it's a big no-no. And
it's a big no-no.
And it's something where with my mom, I mean, I'm a lot closer to my mom. Yeah. But there was a time when I remember my cousin passed away from cancer, and then my grandma got cancer. So it was something that was just like back to back. And I remember Primer Impacto started talking about CBD. And I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but you'd sit down 7 o'clock or something, and it was just like news being bombarded, like just like a bunch of negative shit. And then they'd throw in like the new information about cannabis, right? And it's like the information that they were throwing in was kind of just very vague. So I felt like there was a lot of questions that maybe that people like my mom or my aunts might have.
Right.
But how was I going to come out and just be like, hey guys, let me give you this chat. So I kind of waited for them to kind of just like raise a brow and just have some sort of question about it. So I remember they were talking about this on the TV, and I was eating, and I turned around and I was like, well, actually, you know, and I'm like telling her, and then she's like, well, how do you know, you know?
Yeah, I'd be like,
and mind you, till this, up until this time, I was just telling her I was working at a pharmacy. I never stated what type of pharmacy.
Hey, she didn't ask.
Now you know. Now you know.
Now everybody knows. I'm just kidding. No, that's awesome.
You know, and the more I started to learn and understand, then I felt a lot more comfortable with stepping out of my shell and just kind of explaining
and
what I learned.
And educating people on it too, because even like I said, I smoke, but like you already gave me like information. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, or like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And like even just a small thing as like it depends on like how you go into it with your intention. I'm like, you're right. Like how you like have your mindset before smoking is so important. I feel like with anything that you do, like you should have the right mindset, because like if I go to work and I'm like, you know, in a fucked up mindset, it's gonna bleed into my work as well. So I totally, when you said that, I was like, ding ding ding, it makes sense.
And some people, I mean, if you want to take it to a spiritual level, that's all on the individual. But I feel like just having a good intent with a good heart is a good start.
Yes. For me, I'm like, honestly, why I really started getting into cannabis is after my cousin passed from a drug overdose. I like just was so fucked up from that, and like it was shocking. So I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I was just like, I felt like sick to my stomach. I had this like mentality that I thought like I was full even though I hadn't like eaten all day. It was like the first time I'd ever like maybe experienced some sort of like eating disorder, and I've never had that problem. Like I love food, I love to eat. So it was like really scary for me to like hit that point, because I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I don't have control over my body, you know, like it's like I can't even put like something little like food in my body. It's crazy, and I can't sleep. Everyone's sleeping throughout the night and I'm not. And like I think I had that anxiety of like I'm the only one awake in this like, you know, apartment at the time, and you know, it just freaked me out. So I really resorted to cannabis, and I really feel like it kind of saved me. Like it brought me back. I was able to like sleep through the night. I was able to eat.
I feel like for people who go through that mentally, it could be something where you have to also understand that your space is also a judgment-free zone, right? Like don't judge yourself,
right?
Because if you start off with a good intention, I feel like it could be something that helps in a positive way, but also you can switch up the times that you smoke.
That's true.
You know, like maybe if a person is used to just like smoking from the moment they wake up, and that's just how they function, and throughout the day, that can be for one person, but for the next person, maybe you just have to complete the majority of your day and then go ahead and just have a moment, like tea, almost like tea time.
Yeah, tea time.
And I feel I feel like that can help out for some people, or even for certain people, like a tolerance break. You know, you asked me earlier if there was ever a time when I took a break.
Right.
Obviously, when I was pregnant, I took a break.
A 9-month break.
Kind of forcefully. And 7 months after, because I had to breastfeed. So it was something that I had to wait it out.
I didn't know that. I'm like, oh shit, that makes sense.
I had to wait it out, and it was something where, I mean, I smoked so much that I felt like was I going to be able to feel the same way? Because I heard stories before of people that took a break and then they went back and they didn't like it, or they got panic attacks. And I was so worried that was going to be a situation for me. Yes. But again, you also have to remind yourself, like, hey, like, this is something that I'm choosing to do.
Right,
it's
I'm
not
in
something.
Control.
Yeah,
like, it's okay.
Absolutely.
What's your daughter?
My daughter is 14.
14 and up. So cute.
14, Hi. Going on 18 in her mind. But,
I love it.
But she's 14.
I love the maturity.
Now I feel like there's a lot of moms that are advocates for moms who smoke, and hell yeah, I'm all for it. Again, just with that education. And it's okay to be a mom that's reserved, you know, with not coming out to all the moms and saying like, hey, I smoke, you drink, you know, that's, exactly. You know, not everybody sees it in the same way. It's okay to be private. My daughter went to private school, still goes to private school, and I didn't really step out and tell any of the parents that I was friends with until they were probably in 5th grade, and they had been together in school since like kindergarten. So it's
and
something.
How did they receive it? Like, what was that
I
like?
kind of just picked a few individuals that I felt comfortable enough to tell them, just because I noticed that they had a lot of questions when it came to maybe their own anxiety, or they were dealing with, I had somebody that was dealing with Crohn's, and they were talking about their issues, and I felt like, hey, I can help you, you know, but I'm not going to come out and be like, hey, want to get high sort of thing. But it's like, oh, you know, like, you know, I helped out some people with balms, topicals, and that's something that is very well received in the mom community, but also in the Latin community, because it's something that starts off of like, oh, my knee hurts, let me put this on. Oh, I don't feel high, but my knee's great. Oh my God, there must be some magic to this. So it's something where you slowly introduce it like that to certain individuals, and if they have more questions, then I'm all for answering it. And I feel like once you get me talking, like I can't shut up. Like I really can talk about weed all day, and I love it. And that's the thing. Like I feel like there's such a deep passion that I have for it that it's not just about getting high. It's about like
that was the key thing. It's not just about getting high.
No. It's about like how can we make a connection, but also there's a lot of healing properties when it comes to this plant. And now, of course, it's been an evolution of like you can find medicated foods, medicated specialty dinners, you know, candy, cookies. There's some medicated straws that I just ran into.
No way. Yes. Like, okay, I didn't know about that one, but that's interesting.
So it's just a big variety in the way that the industry itself has exploded, in a sense. And I feel like there's a lot of newcomers to cannabis, and if there's anybody that needs help with guiding, I can guide you.
She's a girl.
I really enjoy the act of smoking cannabis, but also the understanding of it, because we're living in a time right now where we're learning so much more than we already thought we knew about this plant, right? So it's so much more that's being added that I am always willing to learn more. You know, I can never say like, oh, I know everything about weed, because that's a lie.
Everything about everything.
Yeah,
you know what
it's
I mean?
something where I enjoy it so much that I'm always willing to learn more. And everything that I do know about weed and I have learned over the years, I'm more than happy to share with anybody.
Yeah, I think we should try one out. I mean, right? I think it's time. We're like almost halfway.
Okay, take your pick.
Oh my God. No, surprise me.
Oh my God. You want to go big or start big? Okay, we can start with flour. We can start with flour. I bought a few pieces.
Okay.
This one here is one of my favorites. So this is my at-home piece.
Okay.
This is when I get home and I've had a nice long day.
Yes.
I'm very, very much looking forward to you know, having this piece in hand.
Yeah.
It's made by Roar. Swarovski stones on it. But it also has space.
It's so beautiful. It's like mesmerizing. Like I don't know if it's picking up as pretty on the camera. You want to hold it up? Yeah. Perfect. Oh yeah. She's gorgeous. So it's such a me bong too, honestly. Like it's so my
I knew that you would like it. Last night I was like, I gotta clean that bong because I need her to smoke out of it.
Too. Thank you.
You've hit a bong before?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, no, just kidding.
So for a bong like this, a lot of people like go on and hold it.
Yes.
A lot of people like regular lighters.
Yes.
Which I have here. Shout out Daddy's Pipes.
Ooh, okay.
They also help.
Is that a dispensary or what? Or?
Daddy's Pipes is a smoke shop. You can find all your smoking needs there. But glass, we got glass, Roars especially, Illadelphs, but mostly Roars are a thing. Any Puffco piece that you might need. Wow. But we used to have our dispensary right next door. Now the name has changed. Now it's Lemonade. So it's Lemonade Van Nuys.
Okay.
7040 cool. Havenhurst.
Hey, get your weed there.
So you can use a regular lighter.
Okay.
But I really like to use one of these mini torches. Just because there is so much space in between here. And I find that this lighter doesn't really give you as much power in order to like suck it in. Otherwise you'd be sitting there just kind of taking your time, and so I just feel like it's better.
I won't kill it because I'll like
no you could take multiple hits.
Yeah, I was like, I will be
if you want to snap it, that's on you.
That was a nice cloud.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was really nice. That was really smooth.
Yes. So that is the in-house. Wow. So now this weed is a flower that I feel like if I could go around with like a satchel of weed and help out the world, this is the strain that I would do it with.
What's the strain called?
In-house Private Reserve.
Okay. So now that I feel, because it hits you instantly when you hit a bong, like you hit it, you feel it pretty fast. I feel like totally functional still, which is great because I told her I was like, I still need to be able to ask you questions and like have be a vibe, not be like. So this is good. I really like this weed. I really like the way this bong hits. It's very smooth. I was a little intimidated at first because I'm like, oh, it's a little long, but that's what she said.
Don't let it intimidate
you. Oh my God, it's your turn. Would you finish that whole thing? Like, where are you at right now with your tolerance? It's raining. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's storming outside.
Finish what? The bowl? Most definitely. I could finish the bowl, not in one hit, just because I'd like to enjoy the taste of it.
Yes.
I like that.
It's
like
I
said,
social,
the act of smoking. Yeah, it becomes something where it's like I even like the way the clouds look. You know, when the light hits it.
Smoke.
Yeah, the artsy in my brain taps in, and I'm just like, oh, you know. So.
I know. I totally get that because when I smoke, I'm like, oh my God, I start coming up with like different movie ideas. Like I get really creative. I actually, the other day I smoked and I was able to write a short film, like a script.
Nice.
And I haven't been able to like do that in so long. I've been like kind of missing my inspiration and like haven't been able to like get back into writing. So it was nice to like have that moment. I was like, I need to write right now, like take advantage of this opportunity.
Good. Yeah.
And I also feel like when I smoke, it kind of makes me more, I guess, vulnerable and open to like talking about my feelings. I feel like when you were talking about how, growing up in like a Latin family household, and I have the Persian side too, and like I feel like you don't necessarily always talk about how you feel, or like I don't know, I was just never one of those people. I kind of would like suppress the feelings, keep it to myself, and I'm like, that was so unhealthy. Like I had so much like shit that was weighing on me for so long that I just carried with me, and like now that I smoke, I'm just like, if something bothers me, I talk about it. It could be anywhere from like telling my friends, my family, or like coming on the podcast and just sharing about like something that happened to me, or like something that I feel, or like whatever. Like I don't know, I feel like I just put myself out there more, and I feel like without cannabis I wouldn't necessarily do that, because I'm like, oh my God, like being vulnerable on camera.
That's good that you're able to do that.
Yeah,
because it's important for us to let out our feelings, share what our thoughts are.
Yeah.
But sometimes that greenery definitely taps into that piece of your heart, but also that moment of inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I asked you earlier how much like top shelf weed is, and I don't know if we ever got an answer for that. I think we.
Also, you asked me what my tolerance is like these days.
Yes. Okay. So 2 questions.
Let me answer
See,
both
when I
of
smoke,
those.
I'm like, ding, ding, ding. Okay, yeah. Hit your bowl.
No, I hit it.
You're
Now
good,
it's
you're
all
good.
you.
Okay. So tell me, like,
tolerance level. I feel like my tolerance level is ridiculous. When it comes to anything, whether it be alcohol, sugar, cannabis, but I really try to understand it more. I don't really like sugar, so when it comes to cannabis, I feel like I can gauge.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good, or maybe one more sort of thing. When I smoke, I feel like I could continue to smoke, and I feel like the more THC is in my system, the more I can talk, but also the more
I didn't notice. No, I'm just kidding.
But the more I'm able to kind of just be. You know what I mean? Like I'm not overthinking things, and I feel like it's a lot easier to just be transparent.
I 100% agree with that. Okay, now top shelf weed versus non-top shelf. What would the pricing be?
People these days look at a percentage, right? But
oh my God, I'm guilty of that. I'm like, I'm those people.
But let's also take in consideration that those numbers can sometimes be messed with. So what you really should pay attention to is things like terpenes, because terpenes are basically that ingredient that kind of distinguish what weed can work for you and what weed can work for me. So for instance, like indicas tend to have a lot of myrcene. This strain here has myrcene. It is something that's also found in mangoes. So the natural kingdom gives it to us, but also now we're growing it in facilities. So it becomes something that you're able to kind of understand it more of like, oh, it's a fruit. Sort of thing.
It's a fruit,
right? So I find that in dispensaries now, the percentage is something that's really highlighted, and that can really gauge the price point. But I feel like when it comes to weed, small batches and indoor grows tend to be something that give you just better flower, better smoke. The taste is great. I dig growers that grow from soil. I dig growers that have those live beds. That's amazing, because it really keeps it in tune to what nature is giving us outside. So indoor, obviously you're able to go ahead and play God, right? You take care of the lights, the humidity, like all these different factors.
I would be really bad at like taking care of my weed plants, because I try to have some real plants and they didn't last long, and that's why there's all these fake plants in here. So yeah, I would not be a good grower, but thank you to everyone that grows for us.
You can start off slow. Start with some
just
cacti.
one little plant. Oh yeah, true. I actually have one of those.
They're forgiving.
Still alive.
Yeah, they're forgiving. But when it comes to weed, I mean, it really is also how much do you want to spend on weed? Because not everybody's out there.
It's gone up, the price.
Yeah, not everybody's out there trying to spend like $80 on an eighth, But so it's something where if you're able to still have a connect. Oh,
Right.
sorry, hit the mic.
Yeah.
A connect,
Yeah.
then it can be something that, yes, that helps out
Right.
because you're not paying the taxes.
Right.
And ever since like weed became something that is now seen as recreational,
Right.
the taxes definitely increased because Uncle Sam needs a piece.
Yep.
And that is so fucked up. But
Yeah.
we all know the way the cookie crumbles.
Has weed been legal in California?
It's been a while now, but I want to say that even when you had a dealer and you were getting some good stuff through your connect,
Right.
it could still range in the price range of like $50 to $60.
Right.
Obviously, if it's somebody that is a close friend, they're gonna be like, "Hey, $40."
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's not always the case. But then you're able to say like, "Okay, like this is really good weed. I want to stick with this." So now you go into a shop and there's so many strains to choose from.
Yes.
Now you can really let your eye kind of guide you, or you can do a trial and error. And I suggest that for a lot of people because some people are like, hey, like this weed just doesn't work for me, and they cut it all out.
Yeah.
It's a trial and error.
Right.
Just like when
I mean, just with drinking too, like you're not gonna like every freaking drink that you try.
Yes.
Like there's drinks where I'm like, that's way too sweet, that's way too strong, not my vibe. So
and that's crazy that you describe it like that because you can go to a restaurant and have a lemon drop, and then you can go, and I hate to compare it to alcohol, but it's something that I feel like people are able to kind of understand
already. Yeah.
I feel like you can have a lemon drop at one restaurant, and then you go miles away and you have it somewhere else. It tastes different.
Right.
So when you see Blue Dream, or you see Gorilla Glue, or you see these names on bags, just know that every grower probably has a different clipping or a different seed that they started from. So the DNA can be different and vary, but also the environment where it's grown. That varies and that matters.
Okay.
So if it's something that you find a strain that you really like from a shop,
Yeah.
I'd say you can start your own little catalog and either take a picture of the bag or keep the packaging, whatever the person likes, or make a list. Make a list on your phone, make a list in a journal. But you can go ahead and just write down things that you like, so you can find something similar or look up what the terpenes are, because that really is going to give you the key component of, ooh, maybe that's why I like this strain. But if you don't like it, then hey, don't ever do that again.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, because there are some people that they try something they don't like, and then forever they compare it to that, and it's like, hey, well, there's so many other varieties.
Right.
I mean, for instance, this bong, right? We hit this bong, and then there's other options where it's like a smaller bong. And now this is a Illadelph. It's a Killadelph. But
like scary.
No, but it is something where it matters. So if you notice, like, this bong is bigger, so the hit that you're gonna get is way bigger.
Right.
If your lung capacity can take that, then awesome, you're gonna take it like a champ.
Right.
But if your lung capacity, maybe you want to take smaller hits, there's an option
because it can
for
make
that.
you cough too, right?
Yeah. But if you don't cough, you don't get off. So there's some magic behind that.
Okay.
Don't be scared of coughing. Have some water. Clear your throat.
Like I have my tea ready, and I was like, any minute now.
Clear your throat. It's okay. But then you have options of other pieces that are smaller.
Right.
Now, I really like bongs because anything that allows for you to put water in there is filtering your smoke. So some people are like, oh, I hit a bong, there's a reason behind the functions of a bong.
Okay.
If you hit a hand pipe, it's a dry hit, one.
Yes.
Two, it can be something where you could get plant matter if you don't use a screen. But something like a bong, that's what the water's doing. It's filtering the smoke, but also you're leaving the particles in there, and you're not really swallowing that or getting that in your mouth.
Yeah.
So something like this, the hit is smaller, so maybe the amount of the bowl that a person is going to smoke, maybe they're going to smoke maybe 2 or 3 bowls.
Right.
Something like that. Maybe like 1 bowl and you're good.
Yeah. When you go into a dispensary and it looks kind of like an Apple store, does that turn you on to the store, or are you kind of like...
Okay, so my background a bit, I come from an era of going into a dispensary where it was very much in your face, hands on.
Yeah.
You would come in at Daddy's. We had, like 32 awesome flavors.
Yeah.
And you'd come in
like
and
Baskin Robbins.
Yeah. And it was just like you'd see the flower, and the star of the show was the flower.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, obviously, because of all the
different
regulations that the states have put into place, the way that we're able to go ahead and display the weed has definitely changed. I feel like it does take a little bit away from it because it tones it down, and people do walk in that are new to weed and they're confused. Yeah. Right? They're in there and they're like, am I buying a tablet? Am I buying a phone? Like, what is happening?
Me, like, I mean, I smoke and I'm like, it's just like there's so much going on here. I'm like, just point me to the cannabis, like the flower, like,
and don't let that scare you. You know what I mean? Like that is definitely an opportunity for you to ask questions. And I know sometimes when you walk into dispensaries, things like the loud music or maybe the loud the bright lights or somebody in your face saying like, how can I help you, sort of thing, can sometimes make you forget why you're even in there.
And as a first timer too, it's kind of like overwhelming. You're like, oh my God, like, what do I want to buy? What do I want to smoke? I don't know what I like. You know?
Being honest with whoever your bud tender is definitely a key. Yes. I am a person that I like to ask the person like, hey, what are you liking right now? I'm curious. One, I want to know what brands that person is into. Right. I've seen a lot of brands from like the bottom kind of come up, so it's really nice to see some that are still key players and for them to be doing it correctly. I feel like I gravitate to a lot of companies that have the right intent, because there are companies that are new to the industry and it becomes something that you're seeing it in the way that maybe they display things or the way that they name their strains.
I love the names. Sometimes they're so funny.
Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck?
I actually bought one. It's going to sound kind of gross, but it was called Meat Breath.
Okay. Like, and you're like, yes,
and I was like,
this.
I'm buying this one. I was like, it just sounds so weird and intriguing. I'm in. But yeah, so weird names.
How was it?
It was really good, actually. Like, I slept like a baby. I'm like, some of the best sleep on the Meat Breath.
Did it smell like you had some tri-tip?
I do love steak, but no, that was not the case. Okay, two more questions that I really want to ask. People who are like, okay, smoking is bad for your lungs. What would you say to that?
I would say drink a lot of water.
Okay.
I'd say drink a lot of water. Obviously, when you smoke, let's not be naive to the fact, anytime you smoke anything, you're going to create mucus, right? So there are a lot of options with teas and herbs that you can drink and take to go ahead and hack up those pieces of mucus, and it's okay, you know, get all that out. But at the same time, you can be somebody that is completely unhealthy, and maybe the lung situation is not something that is going to take you out. Right. But if you are very health conscious, I would just say clean your pieces. That's like the number one. Okay. If you're going to smoke out of a piece, clean it. Clean it consistently. Yeah. If you smoke a lot, clean
Especially
it weekly.
If you're hitting it daily, or weekly,
weekly, or even just change out the water on a daily. Yeah. That can help out a lot. But that helps out with, yes, the health factor, but also the way your weed tastes. It's something where if you go ahead and you have clean pieces that you start off with, then you can go ahead and have a great experience from beginning to end. And also when you're taking dabs, I really also like dabs. Flower, yes, is my go-to.
What is a dab, like, for people who wouldn't know what that is?
So a dab is the act of taking a concentrated amount of cannabis in a concentrated format, and dabbing it on a nail. So before it was the whole setup of a torch and a nail, which we'll hit later. But now they have this awesome electronic rig.
Ooh.
That
oh my
Puffco
God. It
has
looks
come
like
out with.
It looks like a little robot. Like,
this is the best robot.
So how would you use that?
So something like this, it basically eliminates the act of needing a torch. So it's electronic. You have a button that
oh my God, it's so
turn on the
fancy,
device,
so futuristic.
and back to the whole water and filtering it. Yeah, this is doing the same thing. This is an attachment by Ryan Fit for Puffco, and this is basically filtering your smoke. So like yes, it's going to be a clean hit, but also you're taking that extra filtration, so the taste is smooth, but also you're getting a really good big hit. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, I mean, depending on how big the dab is, you get instantly hot. You want to take your sweater off.
Oh my God,
you gotta need some air.
Hot in here.
Yeah. So it varies from person to person. Right. I personally really like that feeling. Okay. I feel like
you're like, I love that. I'm like, okay.
I look forward to that on a daily basis. The best way I can describe it is like when you take a really big dab, you're able to go ahead and yes, you feel hot instantly. You feel flushed in the face.
Yeah.
Your breathing pattern starts to kind of change a little,
Okay.
and that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
safe. But also, like on the inside, it's
Yeah.
almost like you feel like pins on your skin, if that
Mhm.
makes any sense.
Yeah. No, it's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, but it's something that is not bad because I
Yeah.
feel like that allows for you to kind of just take that moment
Right.
and just settle.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and again, back to the dab situation,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people forget that that's also meant for people that are in tremendous amounts of pain, and you
Oh.
don't want to sit there and hold your bong the whole time. Take one
Oh.
dab, go lay down, you know, or watch your show or whatever
Yeah.
it is that
Yeah.
you're gonna do.
Yeah.
So that way it becomes something that it's a concentrated amount of THC in one hit, and then you can kind of go on with your day. If you
Cool.
only smoke maybe every 4 hours, every
Yeah.
3 hours,
Yeah.
then you can go ahead and just like come back to it whenever you want to,
Right.
you know? So it's something where it just varies from person to person. I find
Yeah.
that people that have high tolerance levels tend to do really well with dabs,
Okay.
and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
And you can still appreciate the flower. You
Yeah.
know,
Totally.
when you smoke a joint, I really think that a joint is a different high. I feel like a lot of people really enjoy, like I enjoy the act of rolling. I feel like there's an art to it,
No. Yeah.
definitely.
Definitely.
And that also becomes almost like you starting your sesh, you know, we all sit
Little
down.
smoke
Yeah,
set.
everybody knows that we're, you know,
Yeah.
it's that excitement that's kind of
Exactly.
built up,
Yes.
and that can be great. But I'm with you on that. Like if I'm at home, I don't want to roll a joint
Yeah.
unless I'm gonna hang out
It
outside,
also takes more
you
weed.
know. Yeah, yeah, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
If you are
Inflation, baby. We gotta save money over here.
if you are somebody who definitely wants to ration
Yeah.
your intake, but also ration your spending money on
Yes.
weed, bongs are the way to go because
Yeah.
you're able to take a small nug, break it apart a little bit, or if you're a person that uses a grinder, break it up with your
I am.
grinder. And you can go ahead and pack your bowl,
Right.
and that can be almost like a measuring, right? Technique for some people.
Right.
So it just depends on the individual,
Right.
and I think it also depends on how curious the individual is, and when it comes to not knowing how to use a specific smoking apparatus, I think if you have somebody to help guide you,
Yeah.
which I don't mind,
here.
then it can be something that is memorable,
Right.
you know, because I still remember the first time that I held a piece or I hit a bong.
Right.
Shout out Brenda.
Yeah. Hey, that's my aunt's name.
And you know, it's something where the learning process started
Yeah.
there, and then the magic of music taps in, because I remember listening to Bob Marley and then knowing already about weed, but then when I heard this music and it's like
you're like, wow.
it all makes so much sense, you know what I mean?
Such a
And it was
feeling.
something where it was just like, wow, like it's just a lot of things that are being said through the music that I feel like also allows for you to understand weed a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say to people who are like, oh my God, if you smoke weed, then you're going to do these hard drugs and you're going to go from like A to Z, you know, like there's no middle ground? Because I've heard that before and I'm like, no, that's not necessarily true.
Let's be real. I think the real introduction to drugs is things like caffeine and sugar. So
Alcohol,
I
too.
feel like those are things that are not really tapped into in conversation, and people just really want to point the finger at weed when I feel like weed could really bring a lot of people together.
Yeah.
Like, just as an example, the types of music, like, right? Different artists listen to all kinds of music,
Yeah.
country, rap, electronic, and I
Right.
feel like all those people have experiences with weed and then can come together and give their weed story, and it's like, hey, we all have
Their
this
weed story.
this at the Heavenly Center.
Yeah.
We had a mural, and it's
Yes.
something where it said THC, the exit drug, and I really feel like people have crazy experiences maybe in the beginning with weed, and then yes, other crazy drugs are introduced, and maybe those other drugs are something that they get hooked to. But I feel like when you are in pain and going through cold sweats and you're going through all these different physical issues when leaving a harsh drug or even pharmaceuticals, it can be something where here comes the magical herb, and you're able to go ahead and keep some food down, or you're able to take a nap, or you're able to not have cold sweats.
Right.
So it can be something that can really serve its purpose as medicine.
Yeah.
So I really think that it's really on how much information the person has.
Exactly.
And also maybe what experiences they have had around them,
right,
or even themselves, to be able to say like, oh no, that is, you know, the beginning of drug use.
Right.
I do think that there are a lot of people that I've come across that, you know, had crazy interactions with drugs, and then they found like, hey, you know what, I don't want to interact with that anymore, but weed, you know, I'm able to function, I'm able to kind of take the edge off, but still go ahead and be functional. So I find that there's a lot of people that gravitate to that, and I've also met individuals that they use that as the exit drug, and then maybe 6 to 9 months later they don't want to smoke anymore, and that's completely fine, you know. So it's almost like they use that as the way to kind of get through it all.
Okay, that was a great answer.
Thanks.
I see a basket on the table. I kind of wanted to show it off because it's super cute.
Yes.
And I wanted to go through it with you. So here's the basket. It's like a little gift basket with all my favorite things and more. So good. So what's in here?
Okay, so let me show you this.
Okay.
So this is my bag. Let me say something.
Makeup bag?
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
No,
no, I know.
And that's crazy because I don't worry about leaving the house without my makeup bag.
They're like, I need my makeup,
but I need this bag when I leave the house.
There's 2 types of girls.
And for moms that smoke, or any parent, or anybody who maybe doesn't even want their pet to get in their bag,
that's fair.
Some of these bags come with a lock, so you can go ahead and like put a code on there. It's secure. You can throw it in your trunk. You can like keep it wherever you want, and it's secure and locked. So I always say, if you are new to smoking, or even if you have had time with smoking, but you're a scattered smoker, be a organized smoker. So this is awesome because if you don't have a toolbox, this can serve as a bag of tools, of cannabis tools.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's something that, you know, you're not going to eat edibles every day, or maybe you might, but maybe you might eat some edibles, and then maybe you want to smoke later, or maybe hit a vape pen, or whatever it might be. I feel like there are different items that you can now carry safely, and go ahead and have access to it.
Bag, actually?
This was a gift from Floracal Farms. Okay. Thanks. But this is a bag that's similar to the one I got you.
I have my own bag now. This
courtesy of Daddy's Pipes.
That is so
This
exciting.
is by Grav Lab. So these bags are awesome because they're carbon.
Guys, it's my new purse. I'm so excited.
There's a carbon filter on here, but it retains the smell of weed inside, so you're able to definitely keep it private. But if you are somewhere where you're in an office setting, or you're on set, or wherever you are, then it can be something that you really keep all the goods in there. So that's for some joints if you want on
like
the
a
go.
Little container. Oh my God, I feel like it's Christmas.
I think there's a lighter in there.
Oh my God.
And I always say, you know, like carry like an edible, carry something to smoke, something to vape, just so that you can be ready. That's some beeline.
What is beeline?
So check this out. So you know how we were using a torch, right?
Yeah.
To hit this, we light the beeline, and then you use the beeline to hit your bowl. That way,
like there's no like way of.
Yes.
Oh my God, how fun!
So that way, there's no butane while you're inhaling.
I love that. See, there's so many ways to smoke.
That's so cool. If you really want to get geeky with it, you can definitely get geeky with the facts, because there's so much that I feel like the community of cannabis is now doing, where we're really being health conscious about the ingredients in different edibles, but also even the way we carry our cannabis or our medicine around can be something that is a factor. So I mentioned to you, I want to show you something real quick. I mentioned to you edibles. These are hands down my favorite edibles.
Okay.
Shout out Chill As Fuck, super chill as fuck. These are going to be vegan chews, and these are so good. Like, I can't emphasize how good they are. When you try them, I need you to call me, okay?
Yeah.
Blood orange.
I'm going to sleep right now. No, just kidding.
Blood orange and strawberry.
Those are great flavors. Oh my God. Yeah.
I have to
totally
hook you up
types
with
of
some
flavors
of the other exotic flavors that are on their way.
Love that.
Those are really good. Everybody go follow Super Chill As Fuck.
I'm so excited. I will definitely give you guys an update on how these hit me, especially since I'm a little bit not new to the edible world, but it's like the more rare side of cannabis.
I feel like you should do one of those videos where you check in every hour.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I mean, these, because the milligrams on these are definitely a heavy dose.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah. What are the milligrams? They're big pieces too.
Each piece is 40 milligrams, so 200 milligrams for the bag.
Oh wow!
And again, they taste so good that you might get carried away. So,
so watch yourself.
Yeah, they're my fave.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to
You're welcome. Okay, so you were gonna pull this out. Go ahead.
I want to pull this out for the people who who might not know about this when they travel or they're somewhere where they can't like.
Yeah, so smoke buddies are awesome. You can go ahead and take a hit out of your rig or out of a bong and blow it into this device. Comes in a smaller and a bigger one,
comes in all
and
the
a
colors.
smaller one.
Yeah.
But you're able to go ahead and filter the smoke. So the original way that stoners used to go about this was filling up a toilet, right? An empty roll. And
I've actually done that one.
Same, guilty. And I swore that it didn't smell, right?
Yeah, I was like, nobody will know. They will know.
You put downy sheets in the original one, right? You put a rubber band at the end with another downy sheet and you blow in your smoke and you swear that it smells
like senior trip
downy.
Flashbacks.
But with this, it's a carbon filter. Yeah. So it actually is working, like it's eliminating the odor. And you blow it in there and you're able to go ahead and go about not stinking up your room or your I don't know. For some people, maybe when they're traveling, like you said, their hotel room.
You're not allowed to smoke in the hotel room.
That way you don't get that fee. That's crazy.
I'm like, I've never done that.
But that is really good because
everyone needs one of these.
Yeah, it's a great tool. Obviously, if you're smoking something like a blunt or a joint, that's not going to filter all the smoke. So be conscious of like what kind of piece you're using when you hit it.
Definitely.
And also, when you hit the piece and then you travel to the piece, like don't release it because then it's not gonna go ahead and work.
That defeats the purpose, guys. Yeah. Okay, what is this?
That's a pre-roll for your enjoyment whenever you'd like, but obviously this is gonna put you in your head. So it's a sativa. Okay. Don't hit it when you want to.
When I want to be functional, I guess.
Functional. This is
oh my God, what's
my favorite types of candles when smoking, or even just in general. Smell that.
Oh my God. This is my type of candle. Wow.
So these are going to be candles.
That's some good weed.
Try to combine my words. This candle, I feel like it eliminates all kinds of odor, even if you're cooking. But when you're smoking,
I need this because I love this candle and it's pink. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yes, so sweet.
I know you love pink.
Okay. What else? There's so
okay. In here, this is a stash jar. There's some weed in here already for you.
Oh my God.
That is
You're
for you.
You're literally like the weed Santa.
Hey, I like to spread the goods.
I love this. So you put your weed in here and it doesn't smell and it stores it.
Right. Yes, you can. It's not completely airtight, but if you have an airtight,
it's so cute.
I guess it's pretty airtight.
It's so cute. It looks like it's handmade, like handcrafted.
Yeah, check it out. Cool. So I really like mason jars. I feel like mason jars are a great go-to. This one's cool. It has some art to it. Something cute, if you want to add to the aesthetic of your smoke.
Yes. Oh my God.
And there's also these jars. I really dig these. These are from 420 Science.
Okay.
And these are airtight, and this is going to be something that is also dark. So when you choose a container for your weed, I'd say something dark because when the light penetrates the container, then it can take away from the potency of your weed.
I didn't know
Some people think like, oh, let me store the weed, and the older it gets, it's going to get stronger. No, it doesn't.
Wrong. Buzzer sound.
It doesn't do that. What's happening now, it's going to be more CBN heavy, and CBN is something that relaxes our nervous system. So yes, as long as it's not moldy, but if it's old, you can still smoke it.
Yeah.
You're just going to be really, really relaxed.
Really relaxed.
From a company called Goodwood, but these are little pipes, courtesy of Daddy's Pipes.
So cute. Oh my God, it's so cute. It kind of reminds me of like also the lamp from Aladdin, like the little genie lamp. And I actually dressed up as Princess Jasmine.
I saw that. I love it. Like, you're actually a perfect Jasmine.
She knows me so well. I'm so excited. I'm definitely gonna put these on. Thank you.
And then you're welcome.
God, you literally thought of everything. That's so.
And then in here, there's some cards for the smoke shop if you want to tell a friend or two.
Yes.
And then another lighter. For you to have.
Always have to have a lighter.
Yes. And then this is a shirt. So I have the sweatshirt on currently.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite sweatshirts. I have like 4 of them. So no, when you see me, it's not the same one. I have multiple.
I love it.
But I got you a t-shirt. And it says the same.
Oh my God. I love it. Oh my God. I need to put this on. This is amazing.
That is for you to rock.
This is so great. This is so me. Hell yeah. Oh my god. We need a photo of this together.
Yes.
I'm gonna put this on after when I'm not recording. Let's take my shirt off.
The R-rated podcast.
I know, right? True. This is like so exciting. I never get gifts on the podcast, so thank you. Like you're so
I will
thoughtful.
always bring you gifts.
It's
always.
so thoughtful, and you really made smoking so amazing and fun, and feels like just like a safe circle, you know. And I think that again, like the intentions, the mindset, like it's just good vibes, and that's awesome.
Anytime.
Yeah,
and that's something that I feel like
it's pouring. Do you hear that?
Yeah, it's pouring.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's pouring.
Sounds pretty romantic.
Yeah,
actually.
I want your opinion on what you think will be like the future with cannabis and what direction we're heading in, and maybe or like what you would like to see with cannabis in the future.
I'm excited in the direction that it's headed. I feel like there's definitely bumps.
Yeah.
In the legal rec
Yes.
market, but it's exciting to see it evolve.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's an industry that was very much an underdog.
Yeah.
And I think that it's shown that there's a lot of intelligent people in the industry. There's a lot of creative people in the industry.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of go-getters in the industry. And I feel like a lot of times any cannabis smoker gets kind of labeled as like lazy or you know,
there's
like all these other stereotypes.
Yes.
And it's really exciting just to see everybody kind of just like taking matters into their own hands when it comes to either their product or if it comes to you know, the way that they want to be seen as the circle of smoking. You know, it can be something that varies from person to person. Here you go.
Okay, thank you.
And then
Ooh. Oh wow. That hits really nice. Because I usually prefer bigger bongs, but this one, wow. It's definitely a killer.
I also think that when you pick a bong, when you choose a bong, select a down stem that you like. There's some down stems that I like to call it a chugger when it has like nothing on the bottom and you can just take a massive hit.
Yeah.
It just kind of just gets you to where you need to be. But there's also some that have the slits. But also that's for diffusion. Okay. Again, that serves a purpose.
Right.
It's basically filtering your smoke. Yeah. So it just depends on what the person wants. Nice. But again, just like clean out your down stem and change your water.
Change your water.
And drink water.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. If you would throw out your social media handle so people can follow you and maybe reach out for any tips and advice. Because, I mean, you have so much knowledge and it really was awesome to have you on and share so much more than just like, oh, like, you know, there's the different ways to smoke cannabis. Like, it was so much deeper than that. And I think it's really important for people to open their minds to new things and understand it before knocking it, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was really great. I was so nervous, but
oh my God.
I feel like once we're in the swing of talking about weed, like I said, I can't stop. So
like,
I would love I would love to continue to talk about weed further. You know, we can hit different topics.
Yeah.
But
we'll definitely do this again.
On Instagram, it's Feel My Pulse.
Yes.
F33LMY PULSE. Always happy to answer questions about weed, but definitely guiding. I feel like there's going to be a lot of individuals who have a lot of questions, and I'm more than happy to guide you.
Yes.
I think that you know, the future of weed and learning, I feel it could be understood almost like a Tupperware party. Remember the way that Tupperware parties used to be? Yeah. You know, like you could come on and, you know, just have the whole info laid out. And it's something where you're able to have an intimate setting. I think that that's really important for a lot of people so that they feel comfortable and safe.
Yeah, that's huge. That's great. Thank you.
Weed all day.
On that note, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.